Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Not Your Mother's History Class. I'm Sydney.
And I'm Caleb.
And today's episode is going to be just a little bit different, and only difference would be the length of the episode. Yeah. This one is going to be a little bit shorter because the topic we picked today is a shorter one, but it really blew my mind when I heard it. So I was like, we got to cover this one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's.
So we all know that horse racing is a fairly older form of entertainment or sport, however you want to define it. It's been around for quite a long time.
Very long time.
So today we are talking about a horse racing incident in 1923.
Okay.
So this does not involve any abuse or death of animals, but trigger warning, death in general, but not involving animals.
You'll see why. Our
story starts in New York State.
Okay.
Frank Hayes was a 22-year-old stable hand / trainer. And one day he was asked to fill in as a jockey. So he had never raced before.
Really?
I'm sure he'd ridden horses plenty of times, but he'd never actually...
You must have to.
Yeah, I mean, if he's a trainer. So, but he had never actually raced, apparently.
That's a pretty big deal to just be asked that out of the blue, almost.
Yep.
Like, to fill in.
And and another thing I was going to add is that this is a shorter story because there's a lot of missing details. Okay. However, the overall story is what really gets me. So there are some, gray areas of not really understanding why or how. But anyway, so he was asked to fill in as a jockey. This was a steeplechase in Belmont Park, New York. Okay. I think Belmont Park is the name of the track. In New York State.
All right.
So a steeplechase is just a little bit different from a normal horse race. If you're unfamiliar with it, Caleb's laughing because he called it an obstacle course in a previous take that we did, and we haven't stopped laughing since. So I'm just going to move forward. A steeplechase has hurdles and jumps in it. So as the group of horses runs around, they also have to jump over the hurdles, obstacles, whatever you want to call them, Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I tell you we've tried to retake this 15 times now and he starts cackling every single time, I'm not kidding. So I'm not waiting for us to get a good take. We're just going to keep going.
I feel like this is a medical condition at this point.
Again, Frank Hayes was 22 years old at the time of the race on June 4th, 1923.
That's pretty young.
Yeah.
It makes what happens next a little bit more tragic.
Yeah, I think so as well. He was paired with a horse who was a 20-1 outsider. I don't know what that means, but I'm pulling it straight from the sources. I think it means that they had bad odds. Like, we're not expected to win kind of thing. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the horse was not expected to do well. 20-1 outsider is
which kind of makes sense why he was brought in as like a last-minute fill-in.
Yeah. The horse's name was Sweet Kiss, which also comes into play a little bit later as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So miraculously, even with Frank's lack of experience as a jockey and the horse not being expected to win, they came in first place.
He won this race.
Yes, by a head.
Which is very close.
Yeah, so very close race, but he did in fact win the race.
Like behind all odds.
Yeah. So, the next part is that when they went up to congratulate him and be like, yeah, you won the race, like, that's, good for you, man, his limp body falls off the horse. Because apparently at some point during the race, he had a heart attack and died on the horse, and just, I guess the way he fell over, he stayed on the horse, like his body didn't fall off or anything. So no one knew. And you know how jockeys sit?
Yeah.
So all they have to do, like, if you lean forward, like, he was just leaned forward a little bit. Wow. And it looked kind of, it wouldn't have looked concerning.
Yeah.
Because that's how they were already sitting. Mm-hmm. A crazy part about this is that I know it was 1923 and cameras did exist and there are plenty of photos from the 20s and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It's not as likely that you're going to have a picture of a very specific horse and rider from a specific race. But there is a picture of him jumping over one of the hurdles, and of course he's still alive at that time.
Yeah.
And so that is documented from his first and only race that he won, but died sometime between that picture and when they went across the finish line. And I just think that's so sad. There's a lot of speculation as to why it happened. Partly, some people think because of the stress and anxiety and the excitement of, like,
it's a lot racing. Happening at once for a new person. Like,
Yep.
Maybe he should have probably went through and did, easier races, maybe, or more practice.
Maybe it was just like too much on him, or maybe he had a heart condition he didn't know about. There are tons of reasons that this could have gone wrong, for this very young man, but he died before he even made it across the finish line, and he holds the world record for the only jockey to, I think it's only jockey to have won a race deceased, or only deceased man to win a race.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Or horse race. It was very specific, but yeah. Wow. That obviously has not ever happened again.
I don't think... What are the odds of that?
And if it does happen again, like a jockey dies in the middle of a race, they're probably going to fall off the horse, and people would know like something was wrong. It was just because of his seated position that like no one thought anything was wrong.
It's crazy that, like, I know horses are very smart creatures. Mm-hmm. I wonder if eventually it noticed or like felt him not go loop, but it couldn't have. It just kept on going.
I thought about that too.
Wow, I don't know.
And also another thing is that a term that was used a lot after this race was the sweet kiss of death, because the horse's name was Sweet Kiss, and obviously he died. That horse never raced again. Tried to find out maybe what happened to it afterwards. Hopefully lived a happy, peaceful life somewhere, but we can only hope.
He's definitely never raced again, probably out of like superstition.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, people are probably super superstitious about it. Stupid, yeah. So yeah, the horse never raced again. Frank never raced again. It's a lot of lasts that happened on that day. So yeah, it was very sad.
But a first.
A first and a last.
Yeah.
Lots of firsts, lots of lasts. Anyways, let's hope that never happens to a jockey ever again.
No. I feel bad for Frank and that horse.
Yeah, I just hope the horse lived an okay, happy life afterwards. I hope he wasn't, like, punished from the superstition, you know?
Never know.
Yeah.
I wonder if he felt it coming on. Like, I know heart attacks are sudden, but you will eventually, I'm assuming, start feeling pain. I wonder if he just kept going because he wanted to win, or if he didn't even feel it at all.
I don't know.
There's no way of knowing,
question.
obviously.
And that's what's so crazy about this, is that they were never able to figure out when it happened, why it happened, anything like that. It was just he had a heart attack and he died, and so they'll never know. They'll never know if he was in pain or anything like that. He was buried 1 week after his death, and they buried him in the jockey outfit that he was wearing that day. Of course, R.I.P. Frank, but we're really glad we got to share his story.
Yeah.
Because it is extremely bizarre, and that's
absolutely
kind of our whole goal, is to share bizarre and unknown or disturbing history facts. So we hope you learned something new today, and please join us next time.